Good morning. Welcome to episode 46 of Hanging by a Thin Thread, a podcast that comes to you from the Kansas City area. And this is the time and place where I talk about my projects, be it knitting, spinning, sewing, crochet, weaving, whatever it is I am doing at any given time. And this morning you'll notice I'm wearing a hat, which is one that I did in the FiberU festival that I just got back from. This was one of the classes that we took. This is color stranded knitting. The teacher was Charlotte. I forgot her last name, but I will put up a link to this pattern. This is called the Midnight Winter Beanie. No, not Midnight, Midwest Winter Beanie. And it's a great first project for color stranded knitting. I have done color stranded knitting before. This was not my first effort at stranded knitting. I've done a few projects, including this Oldotna crop sweater that I did a couple of years ago. But this is just something I wanted to do as a fun class, because I had 4 classes, and I wanted to just try this out. And I ended up with a hat I really, really love. It was a quick, fast make, which gave me a lot of great instant gratification. I would highly recommend, again, this pattern, even if you haven't, whether you have done stranded knitting or just want a good pattern for a hat this winter. I think this is a great choice. In fact, I liked it so much that it gave me an idea which I'm going to share with you right now. I love the colors that I selected. She let us select our own kit, put together our own kit, and these are Malabrigo yarns. So I want to share with you now the idea that I got based on making this hat. How many times have you bought a coat to match a hat that you made? I bet not very often, if ever, but that's what I did. I made this darling hat at FiberU. I'll twirl around a little bit here. Stranded color hat with the class I was taking at FiberU. And I love the hat, and I got to thinking that I loved a former coat I had years ago, a camel wool coat. So I decided to get on Amazon and buy a version of it, because I haven't had that coat in 20 years. So I bought this coat, and I'm still deciding about it, not sure, because it's a little snug on me. This is a large, and I apparently should have gotten an extra large. So I could either wear the coat open, or I could move the button over, but I think in general I need to get a larger size. What do you guys think? And I'm wondering too if I need to get a coat with more than 1 button, so it'll be a little bit warmer. The coat I had before, I think, had 3 buttons. But I wanted to just show you this to show you how crazy I can get sometimes when I make a project I like. I also want to make mittens to go with this hat as well. Some color stranded mittens. So what do you think? I'm planning on returning the coat and either getting a different size, or sizing up, or maybe a different style. But the camel coat, I think, will serve me very well this winter. And so let me know what your thoughts are about that. Did you ever have a camel coat? And if so, let me make a comment about it below. I think I am going to finally get out and buy a camel coat, one that fits me, because I've had my same old brown winter coat now for 11 years. So it's about time that I shake it up a little bit. And I also would like to make the mittens and maybe a scarf to go along with it. Now, I want to recap a little bit. I took 4 classes this time. Carolyn and I roomed together, and we had a great time, as usual. I've been going to FiberU since it started, I think it was 16 years ago. I started going on the 2nd year with my friend Luann. And she no longer lives in town or is able to go with me, because she lives pretty far away. But Carolyn and I went and roomed together, and we ran into a lot of our friends. I want to talk to you briefly, in case you're going to a Fiber Festival either this summer or into the fall. These are some ideas that I thought made my experience even better, that I did right. And I made a little list that I'm reading off of. But first thing was, I registered early, chose my classes, and I ended up in 4 classes, which each class is about 2 hours. So 2 or 3 hours. Some of them, I think one of mine took 3 hours. But I chose the classes early and got a good selection of classes. And I also took a look at the vendors in advance, so I knew who was there, and I looked into what they might be bringing so that I could get an idea of the particular vendors I wanted to make sure that I hit in my shopping, because I didn't have a ton of shopping time since I had so many classes. So what I did, another thing I did right, was Friday, when we registered Friday evening, I stopped in and we took a look around and did a little pre-shopping by, as the vendors came in, taking a look at what they had, what they were setting up, so I could again make sure that I knew what I wanted to go to the next day, since I did have limited shopping time. And I also, before I left the house, I took a quick glance at my fiber and my yarn stash and made a little quick list of things that I would want to purposely seek out. Like, for example, for me, it was I wanted to get a wooden niddy noddy. I have had a plastic one for quite some time, and I wanted a 2-yard wooden niddy noddy. So I succeeded in finding that by making a note of it ahead of time so I wouldn't forget. What would I do? Oh, I also made a budget, a little bit of a budget. I brought some cash and I had planned what I was going to spend, and I didn't overspend. I made sure that I stuck within my budget and made good choices of what I actually needed, and did a little bit more planned buying than impulse buying, which was helpful. What would I do differently next time? I would pack lighter. I always say that. I don't need as many clothes. I don't need to take as many clothes. I'm only there for 2.5 days. And what I need actually is more bags to bring stuff back, because I don't need to bring a bunch of projects to work on, because I'm probably going to find projects there, such as the hat, this hat, that I want to work on. So I don't need to bring a ton of projects or clothes. What I need to bring is some space in my luggage and some extra bags to bring back what I'm bringing back, the purchases and the projects that I get from there. Also, I would next time make more plans to see friends that I know are going to be there, and to figure out who I want to meet up with, because I met up with several of the friends, but there were also several others that I didn't see, because especially since I was in 4 classes and I didn't have as much time on the floor. So I would make a little list of people I wanted to try to purposely run into or plan to meet up with while there. And lastly, I would probably take less classes. For me, my attention span and my focus can really get stretched if I have too many things going on. And so I enjoyed all the classes I took, but I think next time I will aim to take 2 classes instead of 4, because that would give me more time with my friends to spend in the Crafters Corner. They have a special little designated area at my Fiber Festival where you can go sit and do your crafts and talk to people. And I definitely think that that is a huge, thing I look forward to in going to these festivals. For me, the socialization and getting to see people I rarely get to see is just as important as actual class. Speaking of FiberU, I want to briefly show you some things I did get, aside from the Niddy Noddy, which I showed you. This was a real good find. I also got a little bag of materials for my shuttle. I took a shuttle tatting class, and this time taking it again for the second time. The first time I really was just getting the concept and figuring out the idea of the double knots and flipping the knot, and I was just at the very beginning stages of understanding that. So this time retaking the class enabled me to go in with a little bit of an understanding of what I was going to be learning. And so I absorbed a lot more. It was a beginning shuttle tatting class by Kelly Slack. And I think she's a great wonderful teacher for shuttle tatting. And so I'm going to, in fact, take another class from her in November when we go to another fiber festival. We're going to be going to the Ozark Fiber Fling, and I'm going to be taking an intermediate class from Kelly Slack. So, but what I did, I bought some tatting supplies from her that are in a bag here, but just, you won't really, I won't show them to you because they're just several different tools that would be helpful in thread that I bought from her. And mainly what my purchases involved were fiber that I'm specifically going to use. Some of it was roving, and I got some navy. I've been really having trouble finding navy, and so this was a good find. And here's one more. So fiber was a big focus of what I got. And here's some fuchsia. I always love fuchsia. And so that gives you an idea of the main focus of my purchasing was on fiber this time. But I had a great time, and I am looking forward to Ozark Fiber Fling in November. In addition to the hat, I finished the socks, finally, the Summer Lee socks. These are the Comfort Core socks that I was working on last time we talked. And really like these. They're going to be perfect for fall wearing. And I really like Summer Lee's sock patterns in general. So she does have a cuff club that you can join. And I didn't do it last time. Last year was the first year she did it. And basically what she does is she has one base sock pattern that she gives you. And then the cuffs are different. She sends you a different pattern each month to make a different cuff. So the socks end up looking different, even though it's the same base sock. And I liked this concept a lot last year when my friend Carolyn did it. And I decided this year I am going to participate. I don't know with my slow sock knitting how many of them I will actually get done, but I am eager to jump into that. And so I did just sign up. She just released the second one this yesterday for season 2 of the sock club, or it's not a club, but you know, the cuff club. So I am going to be doing that. Now, one thing I did while we were going, was I decided to start another pair of socks on the drive there. And these are called the Rhinebeck Roomies socks. Whoops. Because this is a sock pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady, Kay Litton. And I'll bring them up a little closer. I just thought these looked very summery. And I decided to go with some yarn I bought earlier. This is from an Etsy shop seller called Keystone. Let me see if I can find the name of it. Here we go. Gem State. G-E-M, not Keystone. G-E-M State. She is out of Washington. And, no, Idaho, I think. But anyway, this is the Mint Spritz set. Gemstone Yarns and Notions. She's an Etsy seller. And she gives you a cute little stitch marker to go along with the socks. But I love the colors of this, the way it's working up. It's one of those spackly yarns. And I think this will make a really cute sock set for summer. So I'm going to work on these. And I like the pattern so far. It's fun. I had to restart it because I wasn't paying attention when we were driving and talking. And I ended up messing it up at first. I forgot to do the ribbing at the top of the cuff and started right into the patterning of the sock. So I had to totally start over. But that just goes to show what happens when you're talking and knitting at the same time. But I love these socks. And I can't wait to move ahead with these. They're going to be really fun. One thing I wanted to show you was a class I took. This was a great, fun, and very involved class. This is a caning class. I don't know if any of you have ever done caning before, but there used to be in the 1970s when I was a teenager, my mom had this beautiful caned rocking chair, and it was just gorgeous. And so eventually we wore the seat out of it, and I don't know whatever happened to that chair, but I have fond memories of it, and I used to think it's too bad I didn't know how to fix the bottom of the chair, but I never did. So this class was one that was offered at FiberU. The teacher is amazing, and she's been doing chair caning for decades. So she was a great teacher, and I did not get finished with it. I'm hoping to get back to this, and Carolyn and I both took the class, but we're making a little footstool. And so, again, I don't know that this is a hobby. You mark the back, which is why I have marks with the tape on the back. It's important to know your front from your back as you're doing this kind of work. But it's very physically involved, time-consuming, and it takes a lot of attention to detail. So I'm going to be really thrilled if I can finish this chair. I would like to have this little bench. I think it would be really useful. And so I thought I would share that because it's a very kind of lost art that I know very few people who would even think about doing this. And so it's just one of those fun classes that I took, and it's fun to be exposed to a hobby that you would have never thought of before, and to get the materials to work with it and try it out. One more thing I want to talk about here is I recently took, in case you can't go to Fiber Festival yourself, I've enjoyed taking online classes a lot of times, and that gives me a chance to take a class at my own pace. Since I work full-time still, it's great to be able to take a class at my own pace and my own timing. And so one of them, I subscribe to Long Thread Media's classes as well as their magazines. And I've mentioned this before, that I'm a Long Thread Media fan. They have all kinds of different classes on there. And one thing, since I bought all these different bats, as I showed you, I've been having a desire lately, like here, to take a bat and to get out my drum carder again. I've been really having, I'm missing my drum carder and my hackle. And so I would like to get those out again while we still have some decent weather left before maybe this late spring or late summer, early fall. I would like to get my drum carder out here on the deck and play around with my drum carder. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and I've missed working with that. So I wanted to get that out, and I took a class recently online that was a really short class. I like the ones that don't take a ton of time, that you can just, watch in an hour or so. And this one is called Spinning Garneted Fibers. It's by a lady named Jaya Sharishkanan, I believe is how her name is pronounced, but I'm not sure of that. But anyway, it was a wonderful class, and what you do, it involves taking your leftover spinning fiber yarns, little leftovers. I've been collecting these in a vase for a few months. As I have little ends to cut off on projects, I collect them in a vase. I got the idea years ago from a yarn shop here in town that's no longer around, but they used to have a vase where they would collect their little scraps. And I love using these scraps in my drum carding projects. And so I have been doing this for quite some time. So what this lady was talking about, Jada, in this class, Jaya, was doing a lot of what I've already done by spinning fibers and scrap yarns into your bats. You can put them on your bat, but also what she did was a little different. She took hand cards, and instead of just putting these in, just putting them and integrating them into the fiber, what she does is take her hand cards and basically, try to get it into a fibery state by combing them with her hand cards, carding them. And so I'm going to try that, and I'll let you know what happens with that. But that inspired me. I was glad I had saved my vase of extra yarns and fibers, and I think instead of just putting these in, as I have in the past, into the bat itself, I'm going to try carding them a little bit with my hand cards and then putting them on the drum carder to see what kind of yarn I get from that. Finally, I want to just tell you that, what I want to do, give you kind of an idea of how I'm seeing my craft life evolving here in the next few weeks or months. I don't know about you, but I've been really feeling a desire to do some smaller projects. Having done several sweaters in the past year or so, while I enjoy doing those, they can be a little bit overwhelming. So, especially with my limited time. And I'm just not feeling a big project right now. So I will be doing some little projects, some instant gratification, like the hat. I'm going to want to do some more instant gratification, like the hat or the socks. Some things that are a little bit simpler and less time consuming, because I think that keeps me inspired. And to be able to use my creativity in ways like getting out my drum carder. I didn't have a lot of success this time with the Tour de Fleece. I only got a couple of skeins spun up because I was just doing some natural fiber that, while it was pretty, it was Shetland, it just didn't inspire me. I kept feeling a desire to work with color more and, again, for more playful type of spinning. So with some random, using some random bats and making some kind of more fun type of yarn instead of the serious yarn I've been spinning. So I'm going to be doing that in the coming weeks, and hopefully next time, by the time I come back to you again, I will have some of those things to share with you. But I really do have plans to scale back on major projects and to do more small instant gratification projects. I wanted to pop in here once again to let you know the result of, after yesterday showing you the coat that I was not sure about because it didn't quite fit, I wanted to show you that right after we left the house yesterday morning, I went out and went to a thrift store, just one thrift store, and in my head I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if I could find a camel coat at a thrift store? And went in there, and as luck would have it, I walked right into the coat section and found this lovely 3-buttoned peacoat, and this is an Old Navy brand peacoat, and it fits perfectly, matches my hat perfectly. What luck did I have? I'm really happy. So let me know what you're feeling. What kind of projects are you enjoying working on right now? And this is just a quick catch-up because I wanted to peek in and say hi to you after attending FiberU. And I look forward to coming back maybe in a few weeks here and updating you on what I'm doing, and hope to hear what you're doing as well. Until next time, as I always say, love what you're making and wear what you make. Goodbye, everybody.